In July 2006, African Union Head of States and Governments meeting in Banjul, the Gambia, endorsed the African Youth Charter, AYC. The African Youth Charter came as an institutional and legal response to youth development and empowerment in Africa.
It has been a request from the African Union Commission, mainly the chairperson at that time, who was Professor Konari, who wanted to have a legal document for the young people to give credibility to the young people's action, young people's program, and that legal document was missing. We never had anything like that before, so anything we have to do on young people must start from the elaboration of that charter.
10 years ago, the African Youth Charter was adopted by African heads of states and government to support national policies, programs, and actions in favor of youth development. 2006 was the year when the rights of all young people were recognized and set in a binding legal document that will foster and enable the safe environment filled with opportunities and growth for our generation. They said yes. They said yes to youth employment, yes to good health, yes to peace and security, and youth political governance participation. But those yeses only led to 36 member states ratifying the charter, 42 member states merely signing the charter, and 3 member states not even having signed it. In my moment of excitement and hope for a better future, I watched 10 years pass by. And yet, I am still unemployed. I am still hungry. I am still exposed to the HIV epidemic. And I am still uneducated.
But wait, some African countries, the African Union Commission, and the different international agencies have initiated quality education initiatives. They have invested in youth leadership and development, youth entrepreneurship training, youth participation in policy making. They have invested in health programs. So something is being done.
Yes, something has been done, but more still needs to be done. The African Youth Charter stated that Africa's greatest resource is its youth population, and through their active and full participation, Africa can surmount the difficulties that lie ahead. Active and full participation has not been fulfilled. If many other young people are still not aware of their rights, cannot access quality education and healthcare, do not have any job prospects, and if they are exposed to conflict, then more still needs to be done.
Imagine Africa. Imagine a place with a young, skilled, educated, and healthy population positively contributing to society. That is the Africa we want to be part of. That is the Africa we want to see.
Corruption, misappropriation of funds, conflict, promises that are never fulfilled. Many young people deprived and excluded in decision making. Without domestication and implementation of the Youth Charter, young people are greatly disadvantaged. Their African dreams die unfulfilled.
This is a call to action. Youth, national governments, the African Union, the sub-regional organizations, to cry out for Ubuntu, to collaborate and work together with compassion, with a spirit of dedication and responsibility to promote and protect child and youth rights.
Hello, welcome to another exciting episode on Valiant Voices. My name is Osaze Isesele. Today, joining me is Dr. Bolaji Abdullahi, Nigeria's ex-minister for sports and youth development. Sir, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for playing.
All right, so it's good to have you as we kickstart this edition of Valiant Voices. Now, you've been a role model to young people all across Africa. I've read a couple of your writings instructing young people regarding several areas of life. Can you just tell us what that journey has been like so far, mentoring young people in leadership?
My engagement with young people actually seriously started when I was appointed Commissioner for Education many years back in Kwara State, and then on the back of that, I was appointed the Minister of Youth Development.
Okay.
You know, so that was when I began to really get involved in looking at the issues that matter most to young people. And at that point, I realized that there are so many young people in this country that are incredibly talented. You know, what often get missing most of the time is that many of them are not getting the right kind of support, the right kind of guidance, you know, and the right kind of fallback position when things go wrong, you know, as they often do, you know, and you realize that talent, brilliance, these are essential qualities of growth, but they, more often than not, they are not enough. So that was when I began to, you know, from my experience, engage mostly on a personal note with many young people, acting as a surrogate uncle, acting as a surrogate uncle to many of them. And that was why when I tried to contest for governorship in 2019, you know, I made clear that my priority will be youth development, because I know that if we are able to make the right kind of investment in young people, we are going to get to where we should be getting as a country quicker, you know, than we probably have because it's a huge, huge resource base, you know, the young people. You know, so that didn't work the way we envisaged at the time. Now, on the back of that, we decided that it's better we organize ourselves, you know, more and be deliberate in our engagement with young people.
Okay.
The question of wanting to be governor, I'm a Muslim, and I believe that these things are actually beyond an individual's. You know, God decides what happens to you ultimately, but we don't have to wait until that happens before we do what we want to do, to the extent that we can do them, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's when we started the mentorship program, you know, with young people. And it's been quite an exciting journey. Interestingly, this program is actually coordinated by young people themselves, you know, and it's incredible what they have done among themselves. I have not been as involved as the young people themselves have been involved and engaged with one another in supporting one another, in engaging with different interest groups and different personalities that have been helping them, you know, in their respective areas. So generally, I think it's been a very wonderful experience, and it's something that we want to continue to build upon.
Okay, so before we go into challenges in youth development all across Africa, what have been your own personal challenges trying to engage with these young people? Has there been any sort of challenges?
Well, of course, naturally, there will be challenges. What you tend to see is that, what I find is that, as brilliant as this generation of youth is probably the most educated in our history. And it's not surprising, because the opportunities are there for knowledge, for learning, when some of us are growing up, or when people older than us are growing up, if you want to check anything, you probably look for an encyclopedia, or look for a dictionary or something.
Yeah.
But now everybody carries huge tons and tons of knowledge in their hands, right?
Yeah.
So that's a great advantage and a great strength. So that's why I say the current generation of young people are about some of the most educated, if not the most knowledgeable, in the history of our country. But the biggest challenge that I find is that perhaps as a result of that, the capacity for teamwork is very, very limited, right? That's one major challenge. Everybody wants to do things on their own. Everybody wants to be their own little king in their own little empire. And that's why we probably have the highest number of CEOs among young people in the world, The capacity for collaboration, for mutual respect for individual abilities and talents, often frustrate the potential to go far, right? And I say it's because this is a selfie generation. It's the first generation that you can actually hold a camera in your hand and turn it to yourself,
take a picture,
of yourself, So because it's a selfie generation, so you find that young people tend to focus more on themselves rather than on the group and what they can do as a team. I think that's one thing we're trying to do in the mentoring thing, how we can break down that mindset to replacing I with we.
Okay, it's still Valiant Voices on TOS TV, your digital first Pan-African television. We'll take a quick breather. When we come back, we will continue our discussion with Dr. Bolaji Abdullahi. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's still Valiant Voices on TOS TV, and I've been speaking with Dr. Bolaji Abdullahi, Nigeria's ex-minister for youth and sports development, an astute politician, author, role model, and so many things to young people. You're welcome, sir, to the show again. All right, sir. You have been at the helm of affairs of championing leadership among young people in your country, Nigeria. What can we say is the greatest challenge of youth development all across Africa? Because if we look at Nigeria, statistics show that there's this burgeoning youth population. What does that population tend for us in the future? Is it positive or negative? How can we tackle that?
Well, it should be positive, but where we are now, I think we are actually in a precarious situation. Okay. That I don't think we have, all across Africa, not just in Nigeria, I don't think we are making enough investment in young people. Yeah. And in making the right investment means that you have to look at your education sector, you have to look at the health sector. And when I say education sector, I'm talking about giving the right kind of skill and creating the right kind of economy that speaks to those skills, in symbiotic relationship. You don't tend to see that, so I think we need to look at it. And like I said earlier, if you unpack the youth population, because we tend to look at it as a homogeneous group, but the youth population all across Africa is not one homogeneous group. And when I say homogeneous, I'm not talking of ethnicity or religion or anything. I'm talking about the reality that a preponderant majority of youth population actually haven't gone to school. So, and I think those of us on this side of policy making need to understand that when we look at the youth population, we more often than not, we tend to see the ones who, like yourself, who are educated, who we can engage with. If we move to that, the second level, we tend to see those ones that tend to that we see on the street, right? But behind that, you see a whole huge, massive population who have no education, who have no skill, and therefore cannot be productive economic agents. So I think policymakers all across Africa need to look at this, and instead of engaging youth development with a one-size-fits-all solution, we need to be able to disaggregate the youth demography itself and tailor-make solutions that can work for each of these segments. Yeah.
All right, you can be a part of the conversation. Share your thoughts with us on Twitter at TUS TV Network using the hashtag Valiant Voices. So before we let you go, there are a lot of young people out there watching you. What is your last words of inspiration to them, something they can hold on to as we start this new year, 2021?
Well, the most important is you have to keep learning. Every single day when you go to bed, you ask yourself, what have I learned today that I did not know yesterday? Every single day, you can't stop learning, because this is the knowledge. This generation, incidentally, is everything you achieve, everything you do depends on what you know and what you are able to do with what you know. So I think regardless of your level of education, the most important thing is every single day, you have to learn something. You have to learn something today that you did not know yesterday. Then that keeps you afloat.
Thank you so much. Indeed, it's a privilege and honor to have you here, share thoughts with us on Valiant Voices. We really do appreciate your time, sir, and we hope that we will keep on engaging with you regarding youth development issues across Africa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. You can follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TUS TV Network. Log on to our website for news on politics, business, and development all across Africa. www.tustvnetwork.com. Until I come your way again with another exciting package of Valiant Voices, my name is Osaze Sesele. Thanks for watching.